Okay, once you open a Boomi, you can see there is a start free trial. Just click on start free trial. So there it asks you some of the details, first name and last name, email address, company, all these details, and just and make sure you will be giving a business email here, and you just select some other thing. Maybe I'm doing some researching and researching, and then you while you selecting all these things, you just make sure select all these connectors. This is mean what and all application you wanted to create it, what and all applications you want to create uh, once a Boomi account gets created. So you can just give, maybe you can, if you want to work with Salesforce, if you don't uncheck it, this one, the trial account will not able to use the Salesforce. So like that, just check all the check boxes and then click on, just write if you want any comment, then click on agree and then click on start using Dell Boomi. It automatically sends whatever the email ID, but make sure you select all these connectors. And once you, whatever the email ID you specified it here, whatever the email ID is specified it here, all the email for that email ID you'll get an email from the Boomi with the username and password. But it may take 5 to 10 minutes sometimes, but definitely you'll get it. Even when you submitting, while submitting also, if you get any error also, let's saying that your email ID is already been used something, still you'll get it. That's one of the bug, I think. Still you'll get the email, but just need to keep an eye on the mailbox for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Within the 5 to 10 minutes you'll get an email, and with that email you will get a random password, temporary password. Once you log in into the Boomi account with the temporary detail, all the details, it will ask you for to change the password. To change the password, then you can once the password gets updated, you can use it as usual next time onwards. This is the way how to create a trial account. And then once we'll let's log in into Boomi. Let's click on customer login. I'll get it create tomorrow. I'll let one trial account. Okay, and we'll see once we have an account is there, by default, when the account gets activated, there will be one cloud account will be there, one cloud atom will be there. Cloud atom will be there. That cloud atom will only be activated when you are trying to use that atom first time for starting your running your process. How you can use the process? You can just run a process here. When you run it here, the first time it will ask you to specify the test cloud atom. It's basically it says the name enable test cloud atom. After you start using this one, it asks you to whether you want to use this atom and enable the atom. You will say yes. Then the name will be changed to test atom cloud. So even we can run some of the processes with this one also, but the problem with the cloud atom is, suppose if you wanted to read some of the files from your system, not only system from which the atom installed directory, atom installed machine, then cloud atom will not support, because the cloud atom will be installed in the cloud and you wanted to run. So you wanted to, let's say if you wanted to connect to a database is installed on your laptop and you are trying to use in the cloud atom. So it basically it try to verify that same database server details on the cloud atom installed host name. Both will not available, then it will give an error. So that's the reason it's better to install a local atom for the practicing purpose, and then we can use the trial local atom for testing. As I told you yesterday, we can use the then we can create an atom either in the local or cloud. Let's see how we can set up a cloud at first an atom. Let's go for welcome. Okay, I'll be sharing you that one. Okay, just go for atom. When you click on atom on the welcome page, you can see that whether you wanted to set a cloud or local. Let's say select the Windows 64-bit. When you click on OK, there will be one .exe file will be gets downloaded. Click on start download. Once this file get downloaded, make sure we have to run this exe file run as an administrator only, not we should not double click simply. Once we let's open it here, I think this will not get open, so we have to open it atom. It will be somewhere here. Okay, see here, then run as an administrator. And first, when you run as an administrator, first it will verifies in your machine whether any JRE is there or not. If JRE is not there, you won't get this welcome page. You won't get the setup page. Before this, it automatically starts downloading your JRE. Maybe it's have around 50 MB, somewhere 80 MB. And after JRE is downloaded, and then your setup atom page will be displayed. Once you click on next, you just need to specify the username and password of the Boomi account to which you wanted to use this atom. Under which account you wanted to install this atom. For that account, you need to specify. This is the only place where we are telling that okay, once I'm going to set up an atom. After I set up an atom, go and so link this particular atom to specific Boomi account. That we are giving the information using the Boomi account details. And this is a freely text, whatever the atom name you want, you can give it, or even later once you install an atom also still we can change this value. So in my case, what was I think I was given, I just given local atom here. This was the name I given it here. Local underscore Dell Boomi instead of atom name. So once you click on next, right? Once you click on next, what it will do? It just verifies whether you've given the proper credentials or not. After you click on next, it will just ask you to specify the in which directory you wanted to install it. Let's say C program, let's see Boomi atmosphere and then atom. That's all it will say. And then click on next. Nothing you need to do, or it will take maybe 5 to 7 minutes. It will try to download all the jar files from the internet. Make sure you are connected to internet before installing an atom. And then it automatically downloads all the jar files corresponding thing. It will be installation will be completed within 5 minutes. That's the only thing. After that, automatically when you just go whatever the name you given atom name, with this atom name just go for services.msc. There will be one services will be automatically gets created and it will start automatically. Go for services.msc. Sorry, not services, just go for atom. Once you will see whatever the name you given, under that you will get a name and click on start. By default I don't want to start with the Windows, so I just change it to manual, but by default this services will be registered as a Windows services. It will automatically start with the Windows. And when you install an atom, this particular services, after as soon as the service gets created, it automatically started, and you can see this information from the atom management app. Just go for atom management app. And there you can see what and all atoms are off and what and all atoms are off. Just started my atom. It will take 2 to 5 minutes to replicate in the Boomi account. So once you see an atom, then what you need to do, you just if you want, you can find some of the information about your host information on which your atom got installed. You can find some of the metadata information like what is your OS and whether what is the memory like or RAM size, each and everything that metadata information, your system information will be given. Okay, now you can see it's up, and you can see status is online. What is the host name, and then date is installed, version, and then you can just go for setup startup properties. Now when you go for startup properties, you can see that what is whether 60-bit the system is 64-bit, and then its RAM is 4 GB RAM. So you can just maximum RAM available. What is the atom directory free space available? When was it last restarted it? And what is the OS details? What is the even total memory details? Each and everything will be showing. And for the log files, each and every time when you run your process, you can see under the Atom installation directory, you can see there is a folder called logs. These are all, we can say, container log files. These are the log files will be generated by the Atom, and there are a certain specific process logs also available. When they say process log, when your process got run, what and all steps got executed from process starting to ending, that one log file will be getting generated. And one Atom can have any number of processes will be running. For all the process, this is the one common container log file will be generated. If you want to go, you can just go into the navigate this folder. So sometimes what happens, right? So there will be the log files will be clear long back, and because of that, you sometimes because of the memory is not available on your system, you will get a raw out of memory exception. So in that case, what we can tell them to if you don't have an access for the system on which mission Atom got installed, you can directly, maybe there will be some network team or IT team will be there for your client. So you can just tell them that go ahead and delete the log files for last 20 days or 30 days. Only keep only last 20 days or 30 days. Remaining log files, all log files, you can go ahead and delete it. So maybe based on the date time, you can just go ahead and you can delete all the log files. Even when you say download also, the same thing will be downloaded, and whatever we have here, that log files will be available for download. Because since Atom is installed on local machine, I could be able to see all the log files directly without downloading. But if your Atom is available remote to you, then you have to, only the option is for you to download the log files. And is there anything else wanted to see here? And the other option is there is a this information will tell you later. See, these are the certificates we'll use for security purpose. We'll show you this on how we can handle this. Okay, and then you can see all these atoms are categorized under unattached atoms. Unattached atoms. When you want to deploy any of your process, earlier how it looks like, how it is, you can deploy your process on specific atom. You can deploy it, but there is no dependency on environment. Now when you are going for deploy tab, it basically looks for only your environments. It only displays your environments. If you are not able to, once you install an Atom, if you are not attached to any environment, then you cannot able to deploy any process on this Atom. So how do we create an environment? One is thing, go ahead and create environment. Then you can just give a name. Under that, you will get a one name similar to the Sri_PC is the environment name. Under this, how you can link your atom to environment and environment to the atom, vice versa. So once you select an atom here, go for atom information. Once you select an atom, just click on the to which attached to environment. Choose which environment to you wanted to link this particular atom. You can just click on here. This is one way. Or other way is you can just select an environment, and even you can use the attachment option here. So even you can attach this particular atom to environment. Even you can do vice versa. You can click on environment and select the atom, and even you can click on the atom and you can select the attached environment. Okay, environment is basically, yes. Go ahead, Karinda.
I have a question about Atom. Like every user to run a process has to install Atom, or
Yeah,
can Atom be installed in one
yeah, we
server
can,
and then?
yeah, atom, yeah, no need to require, but you can install one atom. Let's say you have a cloud atom. If you don't want to install any local atom, you can use the cloud atom for running it. But wherever we have some dependency that your database or wanted to access any one of the files on your local system, then your cloud atom will not be using. But one thing is you can use it. Let's say about you have installed an atom on your machine. Well, let's say both we are using the same account, okay, and I
Okay,
wanted to run my process, but during that time you maybe your laptop will be shutdowning. The laptop is shutdowning in the sense your atom also will be running, atom also will be stopped, so it will not be available. So
okay,
if you are working in a project mode, yes, you don't need to install an atom. Everything they will set up on it, and they will not shut down the servers each and every time. So you can use one atom each and all the developers. But when you're
okay,
working
okay.
individually, if you can better install an atom, if you are using a shared atom, they're using
Got it.
multiple resources are using a common atom, you can common Boomi account, you can install an atom and it will be easy for you to, whenever you want to work, you can
Got
use
it.
your atom. And
Got it,
why
Prema.
we,
And
yeah, go ahead.
I see Kalyan has many questions in chat about
Yes,
environment
yes.
certificate and something. So you can answer his questions as
Yes, for one Boomi, as I told you earlier, for one Boomi account, yes, you can have any number of atoms can be attached, installed. You can see here. These are the, how do you identify cloud atom and local atom? You can see that there is a round circle is the local atom, and you can see there is a symbol called cloud symbol here. This way you can identify whether local atom or cloud atom. And you can see there is a number of atoms being installed here. It means for one Boomi account, we can have any number of atoms will be installed. There is no restriction here. And then, okay, when you coming for certificate, right? So let's say certificate, there are two type of certificate Boomi will be supporting. Basically, certificate in the sense is a security purpose. You just think the security. Okay, one certificate is whenever you are interacting with any client and server architecture model. Okay, client and server architecture model, and the client will be located somewhere else. Let's say you are accessing a Flipkart. Okay, I am the client of Flipkart. I am accessing Flipkart from here. I am sitting somewhere, and my server will be Flipkart server will be somewhere. But then if I wanted to access it, I'll be what is the channel for communication? Internet. If I send my information, let's say I'm doing some payment. Let's say I wanted to order on mobile. If I'm giving my credit card details and all the details, if my internet, the communication channel is not encrypted, those hackers can easily take my personal information, like credit card details or bank account information. So I wanted to make my certificate, my communication channel will be encrypted. When I'm accessing a client, when I'm accessing here, I'll be encrypting it. Only server, when I'm sending request to the server, for processing the request, server only can able to decrypt the certificate. So for this is the purpose we will use the certificates. We'll show you certificate how to configure it. And other thing is there is a one more certificate we have it. One that we can call it as a PGP. What is the PGP stands for? It's a pretty good privacy. This is one of the commonly used tool popular PGP certificate. So most of the things, right? Like when you say, like if I directly send an XML file or plot file data, by opening that file, we can be able to read what content is there. Let's say I'm doing some kind of a business transactions. I don't want to, even though my file is being opened by someone else, I wouldn't want to share my details. I want it to be more secure. So in that case, you can use your certificate using PGP certificate. You can convert your plain text to a PGP conversion. Let's say, let me show you the some how it looks like a PGP conversion, or how it looks like the PGP. This is how it looks like the PGP. So this is basically the CSV file. That CSV file was encrypted here, so nobody will able to hear. What is the representation of this plain file? This is a CSV file. The same file we have used a PGP certificate for encryption that this was generated. So the common scenarios like whenever we are getting extracting some employees data from the employee central, the success factor, and then they wanted to send us the data into their SFTP server with the encrypted data. They wanted basically send a plot file data, but this plot file data they don't want to send it in plain format. They want to send it in uh, encryption format. Then we have to encrypt the plain file into encryption. Then we need to send it. These are the two cases where basically you use the certificates. And is there any open questions? I think we can configure any number of atoms. Why we need to use the environments? See, the environments is basically the organizing a multiple atoms. You can just think that maybe you can in normal other technologies you can set domains. Under domains you can have any number of machines. Depends on the load, you will keep on adding machines. Once you deploy your application, you can make it run on any atom. The similar with us earlier, there is no concepts of an atom, or maybe just 1 year or 2 year back they just brought it to the atom environment. Earlier we can deploy an atom. Earlier we can go ahead and deploy, and we can select any process, and then we can attach it here. And if you see, let's say I wanted to just do this one. Here you can see that it is not, if you observe here, it is only listing out environments only. It means we can able to deploy only your process to environments. Earlier it uses to show only the atoms here. It means your process can be deployed to your atoms individually without any environment concepts. Now just they brought it, they are organizing number of atoms into an environment, where if you are any configuration need to do, or for all the configuration you can go ahead and do all your configurations here. Once you go for atom management, if any applications deployed, if you wanted to change any configuration details when you are moving your code from one environment to another environment, let's say the environments you are deploying an application for development environment. Now let's say you wanted to move this code for the UAT environment. In that case, there might be some endpoint URL will be changing it environment to environment. So that information we can the single point of access, we can all access from here and we can change it here. If you want, even you can apply a filter. It will take some, depends on your load, it will take some time to show you the number of processes here. And if you don't want to organize all your connection and partner and dynamic process properties based on your process, yes, you can use it here, because I don't have any of the process deployed. So you can just go ahead and select this one. And if any dynamic process properties, if anything are defined, you'll be able to see all this information, certificates, anything. So this is basically, yes, we can have any number of atoms will be installed, and even we can have any number of environments also. Environments also can be created. Without an environment, why do we need to create an environment? As a any of the process can be deployed only to the environments, not for atoms. So we have to create an environment. If we wanted to deploy an application, to deploy one of the process, then we have to create an environment. And this is the thing, we already have a local atom. So how we already showed you how to configure a local atom, and then we just let's create one of the process to just see how we can check and which time zone actual or atom was running. So the why do we need to check time zone? Why do you need to understand which atom once I deploy the process that atom under which time zone was running? I need to be aware of that. That will be useful when you are going to set up a scheduling. So when you're going and set up any scheduling, right? When you set up any scheduling, you need to specify that you need to run this process at this particular time. At this particular time means that time will be taking automatically based on the time zone that you configured here. And when you let's say you have deployed your process to Cloud Atom, and you just mentioned that your process to run on let's say every day 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. EST. Then if 5 p.m. EST, in the sense whatever the time zone what you are looking here, that will be depends on the time zone you configured here. If you configure IST time zone, it will be showing here. Let's say if you just put it 2 o'clock, I'll just, because I don't have any of the process deployed, and some of the process deployed, but this atom is not available. Then I could not able to show you the scheduling. I'll show you the scheduling part later. Because when you set up a scheduling, when you say the 3 p.m. in the sense 3 p.m. will not take you when the process getting running, when the process is running an atom, 3 p.m. is not taking as an IST. Whatever the atom zone was there, in that time zone, 3 p.m. will be taking. So it means that whenever you wanted to run your process to specific time, you need to understand in which time zone your process was running, so that you can set your time zones scheduling accordingly. I think if anyone of you is not able to hear you, can you just try to reconnect? Let's see if any internet problem is there. If not, we can reconnect it to the same meeting. I don't think any problem from my side.
No problem from my side.
Okay. If any one of you just maybe just to wait for 2 more minutes, uh, else you can just reconnect it again. Okay, let's. So this is how why we need to understand time zone. Let's we have a one process to understand by looking at the atom we cannot say in which time zone it was the atom got installed. Go for atom management, we are not able to see anything. So only thing is we have to run a process with the time zone with the current date time on the atom, and then you will be able to identify. You can compare the current time of your atom execution current date time, and you can compare with take a Google help. Then you can identify which time zone got atom got installed. You can see here by looking at the atom information, nothing will be able to identify in which time zone it was installed. One thing you can understand whether atom was set up on Windows or Linux. That information you can see here. Only that information you can see here. If you set up any Windows and startup properties, you can see the set up on Windows machine. Only that information you can see. And let's see how to create a small process and how to print the current date time. How to print the current date time. Okay. I use the same process to run on different atoms, so that it will be time zone will be showing in different times. Let's create a small process. See, we have each and everything. These all are components only. All of the components, only the one of the component called process. Inside the process, we can build all our business logic. So let's create a small process here, and even we can create a process from anywhere. Even we can create a process from here also. New component, the same will be open here. But only thing is when you are initiating the create component dialog from the some other places, it automatically takes the directory path. If you directly open it from the component path, it will take the root directory. That's the only difference. Okay, let's say I just wanted to use the get. I don't want. I'm just creating a process under root directory. Get current date time. This is a what? This is the date time I wanted to. I wanted to see what time zone my atom was running. I wanted to see this information using one of my process. So let's click on create. Even we can create a process here also, because this is the welcome page. Welcome page will be giving you the will be having some of the components we can create it. Not all the components, maybe some of the components we can create it here. And one more thing is the atom, even molecule also we can say it's an server only. But whenever you have like a huge load, and you wanted to run your process and automatically load balancing, in that case you will install a molecule. This is the one you can see that each molecule is a distributed server. Means you can link all atoms, and then you can your process can, once you deploy to molecule, you can the process depends on the load, it automatically runs on different atoms. You can just think that each dot can be an atom. Like that's the reason it is molecule, since it's a distributed atoms. One of the interviews they asked me that I have one of my process have a huge load. How can I make sure that my process running with efficiently? So didn't say that, okay, I just told that we have from process wise how we can do the efficient ways. I have told it. Okay, and then he was expecting actually. He told that yes, I was expecting that whether we can what is a molecule. Then I said, yes, this is the thing. Yeah, that's the answer I was expecting. Whenever you have a huge load, you can deploy all the process on a molecule. It automatically do the load balancing, all the things. Okay, and this also you need to have the different access for this one. Most everything will be licensing based on the component wise. So the like is molecule and any other features, new features and any updated features, each and everything you will not by default all the features will not be available even in your license account also. Some of the things even you have to request a license additionally. Okay, then let's create a process. So once you create a process, these are the process options. These are the process options that we have it. I think we can use the generic options here. There is no process. There is a one of the option we need to use it is the, this is the main use of important property here. Allow simultaneous executions. Let's say that why do we need to check this box? Once you deploy a process on the Atom, let's say your process has been configured to run for every 5 minutes. Okay, every 5 minutes your process want to be scheduled. You want process to be triggered every 5 minutes. And let's say one of the process got triggered and the process was executing for 10 minutes. So before the current process gets completed, because we have process scheduled the process to run and every 5 minutes, another process will be trying to trigger. In that case, if you don't enable this one, it will just say that one, it will be already the current process was executing with this execution ID. So the next newly started job will be terminated. Means if you don't enable this one at any point of time, only one process will be running with the same name. By enabling this one, you can run multiple process simultaneously. The same process you can run multiple times simultaneously. So that's the only option. Even they have asked one of the interview questions. They will ask you this one. How can I run my process simultaneously with multiple instances? Where can I modify that option? So just how to tell this is the one. As of now, we don't need to change this. And see, as I told you that the Boomi is an middleware tool, so it will be how the data will be coming to the middleware through the connectors. It might be the connectors can be inbound connectors or outbound connectors. If you wanted to start your process with any inbound connectors, you can use the start shape here. You can configure the connector. Even it's not only mandatory you have to each and every time you need to configure the connector here. Yes, we can always drag and drop a connector and then you can select the which is the connector you wanted to configure it. Even you can select it this one. But if you wanted to start, but there are the instances where you need to configure the start shape with connector. Like let's say event based processing. Or let's say the event based processing is in web services. As soon as the client sends a request, your process should be started in. That's the event based. I'll show you these things later. In that case, you have to configure the connector in the start shape. You cannot configure the connector inside in the some other than the start shape. But there are the specific instances where on for that instances only you need to configure the start shape with the connector. Rest of the things is it's option up to you whether you wanted to configure in the start or you wanted to configure it in the further. Okay, now when do we need to go for all these different options here? When do we need to? So if you, as I told you, whenever you wanted to start your process based on start your process by reading some external application data, then you will be configuring the connector part here. This is for different purpose. This is for EDI transaction, electronic data interchange transaction. This is for different purpose. This is a maybe you can say business to business communication will use it. This is a completely different one, advanced one. Will not use this one. This is have a separate configuration, separate steps will be there. This is one of the Boomi is a data integration, application integration as a business to business application integration that will support. This is a business to business application integration supported using the trading partner. Directly there is a EDI transactions, EDI transaction. Wherever you wanted to work with EDI transactions, then we have to work with trading partner. And and one more option is a data pass through. Data pass through. If you wanted to run this child, if you wanted to make your process as a child process, wanted to make your process as a child process so that you can use the child process in some other parent process. And from the parent process, if you wanted to receive any data into the child process, you have to put data pass through. It means if you wanted to use any process as a child process, then you have to check this checkbox, data pass through, and then no data. If you are not interested to configure any connector while starting your process, then you can use the no data. Okay, as of now, we wanted to just check with on we don't want to receive anything. I just wanted to check only the what is the timestamp. Yes, I can go ahead and use the no data. Okay, so once I go no data, I do have a function for executing the current date time. So I can use the notify here. The notify, basically, why do we need to use it? Notify just will not work on any data, will not work on any data. It will just display the information. It's kind of a logging activity. Once you configure this, and whatever the information you configured on the notify, the same information will be available in the process logs. If you don't want to write any information into your process logs, you not at all need to use the notify. Okay, so let's see that I wanted to use the notify. I wanted to see the current date time. So we do have a functions here, some variables or functions. We can from the drop down list, we can select the date time, and then select the and which time format you wanted to hold, you wanted to make your date to be appear. This is the default timestamp for the Boomi, because it has even milliseconds also. It will be more accurate. Milliseconds without time zone. If you want to have any time zone, you can use any one of these. Okay, now because I have just defined a function, but I wanted this function to be output to be available. So I'll just put this once this function get executed, I want it to be replace this placeholder here. When I say whatever the position was there for the first position, this function will the function execution will be replaced here. It's a placeholder. Okay, now, and in case if you are working on a trial account, okay, if you are working on a trial account, you will not be having an access to notify account, not be having a notify. So in that case, even you don't need to without notify also, yes, we can do. In that case, what we can do, you can just put a notify, sorry, message step. Message step will be different usages. Message step will alter the current data. I'll tell you the next classes what is mean by altering the current data. Okay, just try to understand so step by step. But here I want it looks to be very similar. The notify and message. This is a notify, and this is a message step, but both looks to be very similar. But notify shape is just to write the information to a process log, and it will not alter current data. This is the shape. It will basically alter the current data. It will not write any information. Whatever the information you configure it here, it will not write the data to a logs. That's the main difference. Okay, now just set the same thing here. And once you set it here, if you wanted to see the output, you just have to use the stop. And because in the Boomi, right, if you wanted to say, once you run the process, if you want to see the output of your shape, output can be only, you can see the output of this particular activity in the next activity input. You cannot see directly input and output on the same activity when you run your process. You can see input on the same shape, and what is the, suppose if I wanted to see what is the input for my message step, yes, I can see. When I click on here, I can see my input. I'll just show you the one once I run it. But I wanted to show you the output of my message shape. I cannot see output on by selecting here. I can see only output by selecting the next activity input. Okay, now let's run this process. I wanted to show you how this thing is available. Let's run the local atom. This is my local atom. Okay, yes, you can see the process got run and just click on here. Okay, and you wanted to see, just click on message tab, and in the logs tab, right, you can see some of the logging information, like it is executing message shape, and say as we have configured one placeholder, so it is trying to getting a placeholder in this format. Just click on it, it will be maximized. I'm trying to getting a current data using this mask. Yes, the current data is displayed. It's a 2016 06 and 14th is the date and morning 7:07 is the time. Yes, it's IST. It's matched with the IST timings. Yes, the particular my atom was installed on IST time zone. And you just see the value, some of the parameter value you are able to see on the message tab. But if you wanted to see what exactly the shape source data, yes, this particular activity I did not configure start shape with no data, so there is no data is being received passed to here, and I could not able to see anything here because it's a 0.0 KB. And if I wanted to see output of here, yes, go for stop and then click on stop shape. Sorry, message document. The document here, yes, I can able to see it. This is the actual output of your this is actually your output of your message stream. Means whenever you wanted to see output of your any particular activity, you can directly see on the next activity's input. In the next activity, shape source data. And let's say that will I able to see the where do you can see the process log. This is a where you can see the process log. This is a each step by step log. This is a process log. When you click on process log, you can see that your date is not at all available here. As I told you that if you are using the message step, you cannot able to see any data in your log. But if you are using a notify shape, yes, you can see the data in the log will be available. Whatever the information you configured on the notify, that information will be available on the uh, process log. Let's try to connect this to here. Even if you don't give a stop also, there will be nothing because there is no further activity. The execution will not be continued further. Automatically stop it here. Let's click on save, click on run test. But for notify shape, we can just directly see the output on the same whatever the information you wanted to display, you configure it on the same shape. You can see the output also. You'll be getting the notify output like this colon. Yes, this is the output of here. Since you configure notify, now let's go back to the process log. Yes, you are whatever the information you configure it, you will be able to see it. So let's say when do we need to, let's say you have one of the interface where this interface is basically pull the some file from SFTP server, and you are trying to insert this file data into an SFTP, maybe in a success factor instance. And then you once you run your process, right, if you don't put any notify shapes, it means your none of the file content, you are not able to see any data here. After receiving file, if you are doing any transformations, like you are converting the data from one format to another format, like you are getting a plot file data, CSV data, and your success factor basically expects the XML data. So you need to do the translation of data from plot file to XML. And somewhere after doing the translation from the plot file to XML, you are not getting the proper data. Because of that, your success factor instance got failure. So this is the one you wanted to debug. This is the information you want to debug it. But when you run an administrator, when you're running to deploy mode, if you don't use any message shapes, you are not able to see what exactly has been data has been transformed. So that's the reason always if you want to debug it, then it's very difficult, because even let's say if your file is available, maybe you can run it local. If in case let's say even once you read the file from SFTP server, we do have an option of deleting the file from SFTP server, because for to not for make sure same file not be processed each and every day. So that's the reason we commonly delete the option. And if you wanted to for backup purpose, yes, we will be creating one more directory or archiving in some other way. In that case, if you don't put anything, you are not able to see why your process got injured. You cannot able to debug it. So that's the reason always you have to put notify. But if they are putting too many notify shapes, too many notify shapes, because of executing notify shape, even if you consider it is taking a 1 millisecond also, if your notify, if your process contain 100 notify shapes, it will take almost nearly 1 second. Your time will be execution will be delayed. So you should not put notify unless until really required. And wherever you wanted to see the data, yes, you can put it. When you're running in from the build mode, yes, we can put any number of notifications because this is the place where you want to do the debugging of your process. But once you run your process on deploy mode, you are not meant for running in debugging mode. You need to run your process in live mode. So the live mode means nothing but wherever this kind of a notify and unnecessary steps are there, you are not supposed to put it. That will make your process execution to be more big, execution time will be impacted. So now let me see. Yes, I am able to see the information from log. Let me run the same process with a different atom. Even you can just go ahead and select new test. You can just use the test cloud atom. Let's see now what timestamp it will be printed. You can create a simple process, and by with this the help of this process, you can able to identify each atom's time zone and which time zone atom got installed. So based on the time zone, according to your time zone, you can just set up your process to trigger accordingly. You can see that 2016, 06, 13, and it's a 22. 22 or 20. It means 10, 20. It's this is the what time zone it was there. If you can just take a Google help, the possible things will be either EST or PST or CST. Mostly these will be the time zones. You can just take Google help of current EST time zone, or it will be Eastern Standard or Pacific Standard or Central Standard. Mostly these are the things will be there. Yes, you can say 1021. Yes, it's 1020. Just 1 minute back it run. It means this particular cloud atoms will be installed in EST time zone, Eastern Standard Time Zone. If you wanted to cross your Eastern Standard Time Zone, let's say one of the process got deployed on your cloud atom and you wanted to run your process to be run on every day at 7:50, it means you need to set up a schedule with this is a process, this is a timestamp you need to set it. When you set up a timestamp, it means this process will run in the IST time zone by 7:50. So this is kind of a translation you need to do whenever you are setting a scheduling any one of the process. You need to give the scheduling interval time. You need to do the translation of your schedule time in the atom install time zone. That's the reason I was just showing this process. This is very important when you are working with scheduling. Definitely, most of the process will be having a in our process in our Boomi will be having a schedulings, and even we can run on the different process. So you can execute the same process with multiple atoms. You can just see all possible things. By default, when we install all cloud atoms will be installed in EST only, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, you can see the same time. Now it's 22. Just refresh it, the time will be changing. Yes. So this is EST time. So this way, with this class, you'll be able to create, you'll be able to know how to create a trial account using business email, and then how you can configure an atom, and how you can attach your atom to an environment, how you can create a sample process, and how you can run your process. And if you can able to do this these things by tomorrow, I think we can go ahead with the further. Okay, man, then go. If you are installed, then we can use it. If any one of you has not have any business emails or creating thing, yes, you can let me know. I can create one of the Boomi account and I'll share it to you. If any one of you have, you can know whatever the sessions I'm telling. I'll be providing each and every day the recording video, and then you can practice it under your Boomi account. If any one of you don't have business email, or I'll get a one account, I'll share it to you. Multiple resources are working on the same account, you can create your folders, each and every folder with your name, and you can just start working on that. So others will not, you will not touch your process. Okay, it may just take some time to convert this video from GoToMeeting to MP4 format. And as soon as it gets converted, I'll just share this video. If any doubts, we can else we can close the session. We can continue tomorrow. From tomorrow onwards, we'll just see how we can work with all file systems, how to read a file and how to write a file, and then we'll just see how we can work with the file content, how to read a content of the file and how to modify the content of the file. Then we'll go further one by one by one. So each and every time we go, we one step will be newly using it. But initial 4 to 5 classes minimum we have to practice it. Without practicing, you're not able to get anything. It's a waste of continuing the classes if you without practicing. If you are you don't have a time, right? At least if you are not able to practice minimum 5 to 6 classes, then it will be difficult to follow up. Then again, unit, if you are not practicing your today session tomorrow, then it may for taking 1 hour, half an hour today, it may take 2 to 3 hours next day. If you are doing same thing after 1 week or 10 days. So that's important. So if you can practice it each and regular, and then it will be easy for you. Okay, if any doubts, yes, we can else we can close the session. We can continue tomorrow, and you can join each and every day in the same meeting. It's a recurrence meeting. Yeah, thank you. If any doubts, yes, we can proceed. Parminder,
Yeah,
any
Vema,
doubts? Yeah, go ahead.
I actually sent a list of questions. Right now in my office, we are working on requirements. We have a requirement to integrate Oracle um, to Salesforce
Okay.
through Dell Boomi. So they
Okay.
have just bought Dell Boomi connections. I don't know
Okay.
how many did they buy.
Okay.
So they they actually converted one account to enterprise. I don't know what was my boss saying.
See, you can
So
see the enterprise. Enterprise nothing but will get some set of features. You can just go for
okay,
setup and you can see the licensing here. In the licensing, you will
okay,
see that how many number of enterprise in the sense you will be having a connections available on here.
okay. So I will actually create myself as a enterprise administrator from that license.
Okay.
And because right now I'm using my office email address for trial license, I'll delete this account and I'll try to recreate something. So I mean, we were just discussing the scope of integrating Salesforce with Dell Boomi, using Dell
Okay.
Boomi. So we had few questions. I sent you in an email. Take your
Yeah,
time.
maybe we can
Just
discuss about in the offline. Maybe is it fine?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Because it's not at all. Maybe some of them need to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.